How about that? It now tells you that's being recorded. All right, so today we have got Jenny Huckel. She is going to be talking about how she works her Zillow leads, and we also have her Zillow rep, Megan Kelly, and I will let her introduce her. So Jenny, go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm Jenny Huckel. I've been with RE/MAX since I started, specifically RE/MAX Elite. I think Connor and I, or Paul and I were just talking. I think this is my 6th year, might be my 7th. I don't know. It's all blending together. I've done Zillow for at least the past 4 years. And Christy helped me get started on that. And Megan has been my advisor for the past couple of years, and she is awesome. So she's here today. She's going to talk to you about how you get started with Zillow. She can help you pick out areas. She can help you with pricing. And when she gets done, I'll tell you a little bit how I have done my Zillow, how I work it, and we'll go from there. So this is Megan Kelly, and she is your Zillow go-to.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you guys. So I'm going to cover basically how the Premier Agent program works, which essentially is our zip code advertising. And at the end, I'm going to include my contact information, so you guys are more than free to reach out to me directly. I specifically work with agents in the Southeast region. So that of course includes Kentucky, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Georgia. So I have plenty of insight into zip codes in Lexington, as I work with Jenny, of course, and a handful of other agents in the area. So I can chat with you guys one-on-one on targeting specific zip codes and really making sure that you're set up for a successful campaign. But with that said, I'll go ahead and start with how it works, where the leads come from, and a couple other tools on the back end that you get by being a Premier Agent. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see that okay?
Yep, you're good.
All right, awesome. So, all right, so of course here, I'm gonna cover how we meet buyers, what you get, and your keys to success. Now, first off, we have, and this number is constantly changing, it's probably even higher than this at this point, but we have over 200 million people searching the site every month. And by being a Premier Agent, not only does this include your branding and leads from Zillow, but we also cover Trulia. It's under the Zillow Group umbrella. So you do generate leads from both sites, which is awesome. But together, we account for nearly 70% of all online real estate searches, which is pretty crazy. So it's certainly the most efficient way to get in front of a massive audience of prospective buyers and sellers. Now, in terms of what you get, so these are the types of leads. Now, I generally group those first two into one bucket, and those are called connections. Those are your warmest leads because these are buyers who filled out a contact form on Zillow, and we actually transfer them over to you live on the phone. So I have an example here of a real listing in Lexington that I just pulled up. So here's how it works basically. Now, first off, you will generate leads from zip codes that you are paying for. So let's say you're paying for zip code 40502. Now, connections are triggered when a buyer either clicks contact agent, and they, at that point, will be prompted to put in their name, their phone number, and their email address. So this is basically your standard connection. And I'll explain what happens next here in a moment. But your next type of connection is a tour connection. And these are relatively new. We launched the Take a Tour feature, I think now it's been about 1.5 years. But these are great because the buyer can indicate that they want to go see it at a specific day and time. So essentially, they select either an in-person or video chat. If it's pretty simple, if they select video chat, it just means that they want to look at it virtually. Most of the feedback I'm hearing nowadays is that there's a lot of out-of-state buyers who, are really eager to take a look at something, and they want you to walk them through it. Now, from there, they select, of course, the day and time they are hoping to schedule that showing. So this, of course, does not reflect live availability for when that listing is available to show. It's just simply a request. But I tell my agents, hey, even if you know that you've got something else going on at 2:30 tomorrow and the buyer wants to see it, I recommend taking that connection, because you don't know if it's available to show anyway, and you can always work with them to find another time. But obviously, either way, these leads are great, super engaged, because not only are they on the phone, but with Take a Tour, we know they're ready to go look at it at a specific time.
Megan, I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of as in Lexington, I think we're all very, very used to, you have to see the house. It's really important. We even have a sheet that you all will fill out if someone says they want to buy the house sight unseen. And we have always been, that's a really bad idea. You need to look at the house. But one of the things that I think we need to realize as agents, people coming into our state, they have been doing it that way for a very long time. Other states, California, Florida, a lot of those places are very used to buying a house sight unseen because their market has been so fast. So they are used to a virtual tour, and I think we need to remember we don't want to be afraid of doing that. I just sold my first house sight unseen. She closes on it next week and has yet to see it. And they're moving here from Indiana, which is crazy to me, but that is how they're used to doing things. So don't be afraid to do that. Just make sure they sign that little sheet of paper that says they're buying it sight unseen. But virtual tours are great. And this is a great way to show the house, even though it's not something that we are necessarily familiar with as much as other places are.
For sure. And to that point, I've consistently, all of my best premier agents, including Jenny, especially in the last year or so with the pandemic, have become really great at doing those virtual showings, because, not only in some cases were their local health advisories for whether or not you're actually able to physically get into that listing, but now that more and more companies are allowing their employees to work from home, seems to be a lot more out-of-state buyers now more than ever. So it's definitely something to adapt to the current real estate market, is, getting really comfortable with those virtual showings, because a lot of my agents have, like Jenny said, have been closing things with people that they haven't even physically met in person yet.
And a lot of agents now, when they're putting their listing up, you'll see a lot on our MLS. Most people are putting listings up with a virtual tour attached. And you guys will save yourself a ton of time if you, even though we send the listing to our clients for them to view, they don't realize that virtual tour is attached. Send the virtual tour separately to whoever you're sending it to. If they say, I want to see this, say, great, here's the listing, here's the virtual tour. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, that's really not what I was interested in. It will help you save some time and a little effort when they take that look at the virtual tour. It puts things in perspective for them a little bit. And it's also a professional tour, so it's a whole lot it's easier for them to see, gives them a better picture than us walking around on FaceTime. That the FaceTime video, even though it's great, is not as professional, doesn't show as large of a picture as it does when your photographer goes in and does that professional video for you, for them to see.
For sure. Definitely. So with that said, those two lead types I just mentioned consist of the connection, the connection leads. So again, first off, all of your leads will come from buyers who fill out one of these two forms. But again, the connections are the individuals that are live on the phone, and they're definitely the warmest. Now, in terms of how we are able to send those connections, here is how it works. Oh, and bear with me. Let's see here. So essentially, when a buyer inquires about a specific listing, we actually have a team of people at Zillow called connection specialists. And what they do is reach out to that buyer first. And we confirm just that that person is ready to speak with an agent within the next 5 minutes. So what we do at that point is connect that buyer with one of the premier agents who is advertising in that zip code. In terms of which premier agent we choose, it's just an algorithm based on what that agent is paying for in that zip code. So there's an estimated number of these live connection calls you'll get on a monthly basis based on your spend. And also answering the phone comes into play, obviously, because we can't connect you if you don't pick up. So the number of connections you get is directly correlated to spend and how often you answer. So I have many agents who get a lot more than what they pay for, but more often than not, they're picking up the phone, 75, 80% of the time. And because if you don't answer, it goes to one of your competitors advertising there. And then from there, you have all that buyer's information and a link to the listing in your Premier Agent app. And of course, on the desktop version of the site. But the app is great because we send you over that information live before you're even connected with the buyer. So you can take a quick look at it. Now, the next type of lead is just what we call a nurture lead. And these are buyers, all of whom still filled out that take a tour or contact agent form on a listing. But basically our connection specialist just couldn't get them on the phone after multiple attempts. We try them generally for about 7 days. And then we send them to you as a lead to nurture, because in many cases, we just weren't getting them at the right time. Or if that buyer tells us, hey, I'm not quite ready to be connected with an agent, or they say they're working with someone, so on and so forth, we send that into your inbox for you to follow up with, and it'll tell you which of those particular categories that lead fell under. So we'll let you know we were unable to reach this person, follow up when you can. And with all of these leads, part of my job as a business consultant is coaching agents on best practices to convert them. So one thing that really sets Zillow apart from some of our competitors is that we have invested a ton of time and money into finding out what our best premier agents are consistently doing and what they're not doing or saying on the phone. So part of what I do here, not only aside from helping agents identify the best markets for them to advertise in, is coach them on, here is what you can do to make a great return on your investment from this. Okay, now next thing here is a really cool feature called My Agent. So here's how this works. Now, when you are connected with a buyer over the phone, so we were successfully able to get you connected with them from a tour request or live connection. When that buyer comes back to Zillow or Trulia for the following 30 days, they are going to see your name, face, and contact information on every listing that they look at on both sites, which is awesome because we want to make sure that as they come back to Zillow, which ultimately they do, you can set them up on an MLS search, which we know is, providing them with the most up-to-date information and tailored to what they're actually looking for. But most buyers are going to continue coming back to Zillow or Trulia, wherever they initially came from. So we want to make sure that your information stays in front of them. Now, with that said, during that period, you'll also get emails whenever they look at something. So if we see that they're on a listing, we're going to shoot you a notification saying this buyer has looked at this, or they opened up an email from us for homes in a certain price point in this area. And also through the Premier Agent app, you're able to send that buyer a text message with a home recommendation. And this is super cool because when you go to that home recommendation feature, Zillow pulls up a list of 10 homes for you that are similar to what that buyer has been looking at on Zillow that they haven't even looked at yet. So you can pick one of those, send it over to them by text. And obviously that right there is building some value because you just found something that they hadn't even seen. And furthermore, and this is something I explained to agents during the onboarding instructions on how to do this, but you can send them over an invite so that you are the only Premier agent they see on listings for an entire year. Okay, now keys to success here. So onboarding with a business consultant, again, this is something I do when agents come on board. So I show them all those, walk them through all those cool tools and features like My Agent. Next step, obviously, already hit on this, answering your connection calls. That's pretty key. And finally, engaging your pipeline using the app. So many of you probably already have a CRM that you use, but I don't know if Remax provides one, but it's nice because the Premier Agent app helps you easily manage your pipeline so that all of your leads are in one place so that nothing slips through the cracks. And lastly here, before I go over this, Jenny wanted me to show you guys how you look at zip codes. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that not everyone is automatically enabled to go and look at zip codes. So if you're having trouble navigating to this, reach out to me directly and I'll help you. I recommend reaching out to me beforehand anyway, just so that I can help make sure that you're in a good market and that you're set up for success. But here's how it works. So obviously the first step is having a profile in Zillow and logging into it. That goes without saying. But basically, wherever you are on the site, once you're logged in, you should see something that says Agent Hub. So if I hover over that, I can go to my profile. I just have an agent pulled up here as an example. But from there, at the top of the screen, there is this navy blue bar, and one of the options is advertising. So if you click on that, you'll see My Ads. And this is something I can only see on my end right now, but in some cases, you might just get a form asking you to fill out your information. So I have to enable the pricing. But again, just reach out to me. We can get that done if it's not already enabled for you. But normally it should bring you, oops, sorry about that. It should bring you to this screen. So basically, you can type in zip codes or a city. and you can click on the different zips in your market. So this is cool because it shows you if there's anything available, and then you are able to see the agents that are advertising in that zip code. And there is a bar here that shows you what your investment would get you in terms of estimated monthly connections. So again, those are the live calls and additional leads, which refers to those nurtured leads. So that is how you navigate to the zip code portion. And there is a decent amount of zip codes that are sold out right now, but Lexington actually has a decent amount of availability right now compared to what's average, but that of course can change at any moment. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Megan, can you tell them a little bit about how you decide what area is a good area? I know good area is not the right word for me to use. What area would be a top producing area as opposed that when you are looking at numbers, how are you deciding what area is a top producing number as opposed to another area?
For sure. So one of the most important factors, of course, is budget, because pricing does vary significantly from zip to zip. So for example, in 40502, where you have a relatively high average listing price, it's going to cost a lot more to advertise there than it is in 40508. But by no means is a good area just an area with an average home value. Then one of the main things I look at is the overall number of connections and additional leads coming out of that zip code on a monthly basis. Because when you'll go out to some rural areas, that are pretty inexpensive, but if it's not generating a ton of leads like this area, 40372, there's only a total of 5 connections per month. Zip codes like that can be pretty inexpensive, but it's not always the best area to advertise in. If, for example, there's just very, very few listings on any month on average. In terms of what I consider a good campaign, really, it is a numbers game. So you've got to get enough leads to make a solid ROI and to get a lot of momentum quickly so that you can start getting some clients and getting out there on showings. Generally, I coach my agents to get at least 4 connections a month. Now, you don't have to start with that if, I know budget is a key factor, but that is a campaign in which you can really expect to generate a really solid amount of business and start building your pipeline. And again, these are estimates, so there's a good chance you'll get more than that, but that's kind of the minimum of what I recommend for a really solid campaign. But in terms of specific zips, this is kind of where I come into play more so, because I do have some tools on the back end that show me some more data in terms of which zip codes are over delivering on connections. I even have more information on the average price point agents are getting leads on in those zips, as well as a projected ROI. So really, to be super strategic about it, it's best to have an individual call with me so I can look at some more numbers and kind of see what areas you're wanting to focus on. Does that all good, Jenny? Anything else?
It is. Yes. Thank you so much.
Great. Of course. Now, lastly here, next steps. So again, make sure that you have a profile on Zillow. If you don't already, just go to the site and under login, you can create a new account right there. And then you want to make sure you download the Premier Agent app. This is something you can do even if you're not a Premier Agent yet, but it's a great start because that's something you definitely need to get started. And then from there, we schedule an onboarding session, which is something that you would do with me. And one thing to mention here, and this is purely coincidental, but we actually have a Remax promotion going on through May 31st. So timing's a little short here, but it's a good time to get on board anyway with all the traffic from the holiday weekend. And with this promotion, essentially with a 6-month campaign, if you start off spending $500 or more, you get a free month of advertising. And we can discuss that more individually, but it's obviously a great time to take advantage of something like that because Zillow actually rarely does promotions as is. And here is my contact information. Jenny can share this with you guys as well if you don't have anything to write it down with. I know this is recorded, but this is my direct line and my email address.
Perfect. We'll make sure we share that out.
For sure.
Good deal. Megan, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Do you guys, do you have any, does anybody have any questions for her?
Here's your chance.
If you are not on Zillow, you need to get on Zillow. There's every single client you have is looking on Zillow before they come to you. Every single one. It's a very rare occasion that people are not finding something on Zillow or Trulia. And if you do nothing else, you need to download the Zillow Premier Agent app and hop on there. Create your profile and put it on there. Even if you're not buying, you need to be on there. That has to be something you do today.
Lacey, did you? I saw you unmute. All right. Well, if anyone wants to get a hold of Megan, her info is going to be on here. Of course, it's going to be recorded, so you can just reach out to Megan and just talk to her. So, Megan, we really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. A lot of great information.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dale, guys, don't leave yet because I'm going to go over a couple things with you. So,
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, Jenny, here is your chance to talk about anything you want to talk about with your Zillow leads. I'd like to hear about how you kind of work them and how you keep in touch with them, and then let any of our agents ask any questions.
Absolutely. When I get a call and I do 40515, I've been doing that for about 6 months. Before that, the past couple of years, I have done Winchester. Winchester generated a ton of leads. I got about 29 leads a month from there. But that area it had a really great amount of leads that were coming to me. It's just a lot of them were under 100,000. And that's a lot to do. $40,000 listings are not my favorite, but I am the trailer queen. You'll find out. So anyway, I changed to 40515. The price point is a little higher and the house is there. I think I'm getting around, I don't know, 9 to 15 leads a month. And we are doing really well. I've got several people under contract already after just having it for 6 months. And I have about 5 people that I'm constantly working with. Also, Connor is on my team and he has several people that he's working with. But in general, you have to answer the phone. It's the most important thing that you do on Zillow is to answer the phone on the first or second ring. You just have to. Doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, answer the phone so that you can, the first thing that you get will be a recording that says, hey, I've got such and such on the line, would like to speak with you. And then it connects you. If you accept it, then it connects you. If for some reason they don't respond, a Zillow agent will come on, speak with you, and then call them back directly. That's one of the best parts of Zillow is that they do have that automatic contact where you're actually speaking with somebody live. I always ask, are you working with an agent? And I always ask, especially in this market, have you been pre-approved? If you don't have those two things, well, if you're working with an agent, that ends our conversation anyway. I always direct them to their agent immediately. If they haven't been pre-approved, make sure you have a lender in your pocket. Just program it in your phone. So as soon as you click on their name or text their name, all of their information pops up and send it directly to them. One of the new things Zillow is doing is allowing for a pre-approval to happen through Zillow. Not jumping for joy over that new feature, but some people are saying I just got pre-approved through Zillow. Just to give you an example, one of the guys that said he just got pre-approved through Zillow, he said he got pre-approved for $600,000. We were looking at about $130,000 listing. I made him go through a local lender to get pre-approved again. He was approved for maybe around 200. So I think that's a precaution. You might want to have a backup lender to make them go through the pre-approval. But in this market, it's pointless to show anyone any listings at all if they haven't been pre-approved. It's a waste of your time and theirs. After that, we can go look at listings if they've been pre-approved. I send them something every single day until Paul said, until they tell me to quit sending them something or they die. They're going to get something from me every single day. And to give you a great example, I have a person 2 years ago that was a Zillow lead that is looking in the $600,000 to $800,000 range 2 years ago. And they kind of said things weren't working out very well for them, but they still hear from me all the time. And just this past week, they called and said, we're ready. And $800,000, here we go. And that's how you keep in contact with your Zillow leads. It might not happen immediately. It might not happen in 30 days. It might not happen in 6 months, but when they are ready, you're there. And that is a really, really important, you're losing money if you don't do that. So in the morning when I get up, I check Flex, see what is coming soon. Always check your coming soons because those are going to be the ones that you're able to get into really quick. You can set up your showings on your coming soons, even though it just says coming soon. Go ahead and go to showing time. You can set up your showing for the second they hit the market. Then also look at your new listings and you send all of those things that meet their criteria. You're going to send those to the people that you get for Zillow every single day. Again, until they tell you to quit sending it to them or until they die. Even if they say, we're not ready, we're just looking, we're not real sure what we want to do. Great. I'm here when you're ready. And I'm going to keep sending you stuff until you are. And that's the best way to do Zillow. Am I missing anything? I don't think I am. What questions do you guys have about Zillow?
If you don't have anything, or if there's not anything on the market that they want at the time, like what do you send them daily that I guess kind of encourages them?
I would just say slim pickings today, folks. I'll catch up with you. I'll keep checking and catch up with you this evening and tomorrow. Just let them know there was nothing today.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I also was wondering, oh, go ahead.
So when you send them the listing, are you sending it through your own text message or are you sending it through Zillow?
I send it through my own text message because sometimes through the Premier agent, I don't always check it and I'm afraid I'll miss it. So the Premier agent gives you the option to send it through your own text message. So I do. That way I never miss it. It doesn't go into my Premier agent box. It goes directly to my text message.
Okay.
I send it through Flex because I'm already sitting there on Flex anyway, looking through it. I normally don't search on Zillow. I normally search Flex.
Okay. That's the same thing I do. Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do multiple zip codes?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It's expensive. So I don't recommend spreading yourself too far out. Right now I'm in 40515 and I want to buy up as much of that as I possibly can. I think they sell about 200%. Right now, Connor and I are second or third. We're in the top 3 at least, as far as how much share we hold in that in 40515. There's somebody else that holds like 115%, so they get the majority of the calls. But right now I feel like you want to, even though you want a bunch of calls, you want to also be aware, and I wouldn't know this if I hadn't already done Winchester and I was bombarded. I mean, you were getting calls all the time. Know how much you can handle. It's okay to say, you know what, I can really only handle 15 calls. I can really only handle 30 calls. If you're handling more than 30 calls, then you're not doing anything else in your life other than handling calls. Because not every call is going to turn into something, but a great bunch of them will.
Who else has questions? Here's your opportunity.
Connor, why don't you tell them a little bit about what you've done? How's it gone for you? Do you like Zillow? Do you feel like it's worth it well, you're getting there.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I started about 6 months ago, and Jenny and I are sort of splitting the leads right now, and it's going well. I mean, it's, we can both answer the calls. So if you do split it with somebody, the calls go to either of you. So if one doesn't pick up, the other will pick up, and that's a real cool thing about it. But no, it's I got a lot working at the moment. A lot are saying that they want to wait a couple months out, but I'm still sending them stuff every day, and so we'll see. Hopefully the next couple months it'll really start to pick up for me. So I'm excited. It's going well. I'm definitely getting a lot of clients and meeting a lot of new people. So it's fun getting that side of it, and I definitely have a good client list that I'm continuing to build upon. So it's all good things.
Do you
Keep in
split
mind-
it through Zillow? The split calls?
I pay when the bill comes, I pay the bill and then Connor pays me. The other thing that I wanted to let you guys know is that lenders, if you end up having a good relationship with a lender, the lender can pay a third of it. So, and that's a new thing. They used to be able to pay half. Now they can pay a third. So we split it between me, Connor, and a lender. So I strongly recommend finding a lender that would like to work with you on that. And their name and their contact information, the lender's stuff all pops up on there as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. I was going to bring that up, which I didn't realize it switched to a third from a half. But yeah, that will definitely help offset the cost a little bit if you can get that relationship.
Mhm. Zillow is, if you are, Connor has a full-time job somewhere else, and this is a really good option for him to build his clientele. Most of your first-time home buyers are not going to be in their house for more than 5 years. So they will be repeat business. So this is a great way to get things going, to build that customer base. And Zillow is a great option for everybody. Anybody else? Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Well, if no one has any more questions, Jenny, thank you so much.
Absolutely. If you guys don't mind, I am going to share your names and contact information with Megan. She'll probably reach out to you to see if you have any questions, and to help you get through setting yourself up on that Premier Agent. Definitely do that, because you'll get leads. I mean, they send you stuff. They want you. So they will send you something on that Premier Agent site.
All right. Well, we'll end it there. This recording will go up here after a while, so you can go back and kind of watch it. And yeah, if you have any questions, give us a shout. Jenny, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Jenny.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.
You guys.